The situation on the Korean Peninsula is revolving rapidly as the third Inter-Korean summit starts to take place, with the Washington-Pyongyang summit also on the calendar. A series of future summits between regional powers such as South Korea, the United States, Japan, and China are expected to follow. A meeting between President Moon Jae-in and Donald Trump could also be sandwiched in between the Inter-Korean and Washington-Pyongyang summits. The two leaders are expected to further discuss the exchanges that take place during this whole Pyongyang meeting. In addition to the Inter-Korean and Washington-Pyongyang summits, a trilateral summit between the two Koreas and the United States is also being raised as a possibility.
진전 상황에 따라서는 남북미 3국 정상회담으로 이어질 수도 있을 것입니다. 이번 회담들과 앞으로 이어질 회담들을 통해 우리는 한반도의 핵과 평화 문제를 완전히 끝내야 합니다.
A summit between Seoul and Beijing, as well as Seoul and Tokyo, are also being forecast to take place in the near future.
두 정상은 한중일 3국 정상회담을 가급적 이른 시기에 개최한다는 데 뜻을 모았습니다.
North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has taken a step forward onto the global diplomatic stage following his meeting with the South Korean envoy. Starting with the Inter-Korean summit, Kim Jong-un could also arrange further meetings with the leaders of Japan and Russia. In response to these overtures, Japan has dropped its traditionally hardline stance on North Korea to discuss the possibility of a summit meeting between Tokyo and Pyongyang.
我が国としては日米韓3カ国が連携のもとに核ミサイル拉致問題の包括的な解決に向けてですね取り組みを進めていく。
There could also be a revival of six-party talks for the first time in 10 years, given the need for multilateral cooperation over North Korea's nuclear issue. All eyes across the globe are focused on the outcome of these summits, with world leaders expected to hold a succession of meetings, starting with face-to-face talks between President Moon Jae-in and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. So a series of high-level talks and summits are planned. As journalists, how are you planning to cover all these major events?
Well, it's certainly going to take a lot of effort and take some sleepless nights. Just recently, I had a phone call from my headquarters in Moscow, and they're going to send in a team of, like a reinforcement team of journalists from China and Japan to help me cover this summit.
But the Inter-Korean summit?
Yeah, we're talking about the Inter-Korean summit. And possibly if the North and American summit would happen somewhere nearby, I'm certainly going there too. I think it's not decided yet where it's going to take place, and everybody's speculating whether that would be Beijing or Vladivostok or maybe even Da Nang in Vietnam. So anyway, I'm packing my things and getting ready to travel.
Okay. Have they sent reinforcements from NPR?
Well, that would certainly happen for an American North Korean summit. Our White House team often travels with the president, and so there would likely be a White House reporter and White House producer that would join for that. As for the Inter-Korean summit, like I mentioned earlier in the program, there's not a lot of American attention on the North-South summit, despite its importance.
Right.
And so as a result, I might be on my own for that, which is actually possible because it is so restricted when it comes to coverage, especially for foreign media, that we would likely be in Seoul trying to cover it from some unification ministry press briefing room and not actually up close near the Peace House itself.
Okay. Now, of the numerous summits that are probably planned post-Moon-Kim summit, which one are you looking forward to the most?
Still, Trump-Kim summit is the most important summit, but
Not Abe-Kim?
well, that would be an interesting topic for Japanese journalists. But the importance is, of course, even from our perspective, Trump-Kim summit is more important.
So speaking of Abe-Kim summit, what's the likelihood? How do you rate the possibility of a Pyongyang-Moscow summit taking place in the near future?
I do not think that Pyongyang and Moscow have really any outstanding issues that have to be discussed at the summit. But I do not rule out the possibility of a trilateral summit of North, South, and Russia.
Okay.
It would really have some sense to organize and to discuss, since the three countries have many trilateral projects that could be realized if all the countries agree and if North Korean issue is solved. The oil or gas pipeline going through North Korea to the south, and the electric power lines going through North Korea to south, etc.
Right, the transportation line is also another huge one.
Yeah,
that could
right.
be discussed.
The railroads. Yeah.
So Koichi, this next question is for you. Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, he is seeking to meet Trump before the inter-Korean meeting, inter-Korean summit. Why do you think he's so insistent on meeting Trump before the Moon-Kim summit?
Currently, this North Korean issue and nuclear issue is going on with the conduction of South Korea and then North Korea and US, China. So, of course, Prime Minister Abe wants to cut in and show their point of view.
Right.
And the most effective way is to speak with President Trump and how Japan think about this nuclear issue.
Now, some pundits say that President Shinzo Abe is also seeking a summit with Kim Jong-un, partly as a way to divert attention away from this recent school scandal. Do you agree with that suggestion?
This school scandal is a very interesting topic for Japanese reporter, and I myself are also eagerly watching how much his support rate will drop or something like that. But I think it's a bit different topic, because if Prime Minister Abe suddenly start talking about dialogue, then it is, about political motivation. But this North Korea issue and abduction issue has been the #1 priority since 2004 or 2005 for Prime Minister Abe. And in 2014, under the Abe administration, Japan and North Korea had a Stockholm Agreement about abduction issue. And the process stopped in 2016 because of their North Korean nuclear test. So theoretically, if this nuclear denuclearization dialogue goes well with US and South Korea and China, then naturally Japan-North Korea dialogue can be resumed.
Right. Do you think if the abduction issue was addressed properly, that his popularity would have significant increase?
Yeah, they're very, very important issue for Japanese people. So it's really hard, but if they reach some agreement, then it will help
boost his popularity
boost his
back
popularity.
up. All right. How do you rate the possibility of a trilateral Moon-Kim-Trump summit?
It might be necessary, but right now I rate the likelihood that a summit between the U.S. and North Korea happening by May to be very, very low. Not only are there constant changes, the basic details of the summit haven't even been lined up. That is, where is it going to happen? What are they going to talk about? And so until those basic details actually get agreed upon, I'm going to be very skeptical that a bilateral summit could happen at all, to say nothing of a trilateral one.
Okay.
I'm wondering why President Moon, when he mentioned about this trilateral summit, he forgot mention about China.
No, I think you were going to say forgot Japan.
Yeah. Logically speaking, China, South Korea, North Korea, U.S. summit is more effective to solve the center issue of the nuclear and economical relationship.
Okay, so the next question is, do you think it's possible for North Korea to establish formal diplomatic ties with the regional powers in the near future?
I think so. Why not? If everything goes smoothly, if North Korea would be ready, if it would really show its desire to denuclearize, then why not?
Do you think it's possible in the near future?
It depends on what we're saying near future is, but if near future is in the next year or so, I would say no. But then again, stranger things have happened, so real life is unpredictable.
I'm still quite pessimistic, but these 3 months, I couldn't foresee all the happenings, so maybe something really good might happen.
Okay.